Hello.
Hello. Friday night live.
Friday night.
Surprise live. Because no one knew we would be here. Not even us. Really.
For real, though. For real. Okay, I'm going to share it.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna share it. Now, Cherie.
I know.
I
knew you were going to say that. Just let me live. You just took my excitement that I was going to have. Share now. You just robbed me of my joy.
Well, we're doing this in the dark because I didn't put on makeup.
I like this little light.
I know. I feel like,
You're fine.
I'll really do that. Does that feel right?
I feel like no, you're good. You're good. I feel like if I go too far back, I'm gonna go off the back of the stage. That'd be good. Okay, that's perfect.
Okay,
I think.
let's do it.
From national parks to theme parks, a travel experience. I'm Cherie.
And I'm Cheyenne.
Let's go to the park.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay. We are in a weird spot. So Cherie and her husband just got back from a wild trip. Where all did you go?
We went to Utah and did the Mighty Five national parks, Canyonlands, Capitol Reef, Arches, Zion, and Bryce. And then we went into Arizona and did Saguaro and Petrified Forest on a 12-day adventure.
Yeah. So they just had all kinds of fun. And then I and my family, we leave on Sunday to go on a Disney cruise and then follow up with Disney World for a couple days.
So exciting.
So,
and then follow up shortly after
Yeah.
with another, if you follow along, the first trip was my 30th birthday trip, but this is also a 30th birthday trip. So, number 2.
Yeah. So she just got back from Utah and other states. I'm going to Disney for a cruise and then Disney World. I'll come back for a week. She's going to go to Disney World and then I'm going to meet her and we're going to get on a Carnival cruise. And I don't even know where it's going. Where are we going?
Grand Turk and Amber Cove. And
Okay,
2 days
cool.
at sea.
Cool. Does one of those have the national park on it? Or is that St. John?
Yeah.
It
is St. John. They have like their own national park
Yeah.
of sorts, you know. Just
Okay.
not one.
Cool. So
in
we
our book.
might have to do a live somewhere. Do a couple pop-ups from
Yes, for sure.
Disney, from the Disney cruise, and then from our cruise together.
Yeah, we love to
So-
do pop-ups, so make sure you follow along. You can join us live, and you never know where we'll be.
You never know where we'll be. You never know. That's true.
So,
All right. So the park we're going to cover today is Congaree National Park in South Carolina. We had one person correctly guess
yay!
that we were
Thanks
going
for
to
guessing.
Congaree. Someone else was really close, but not quite.
They just
So,
got it a little confused.
They got a
with
little
another part of the
confused.
country.
The hint was it has the tallest trees in the eastern U.S. And they read the tallest trees in the western U.S.
Yeah.
So they were close.
They were.
They were close. Thank you for
Yes.
trying your best.
Yes.
We appreciate
We
it.
love when people guess and interact with our posts. So
Yeah, it makes us feel good.
it does.
It's fun. It's fun. All right, so I did the quiz this time.
Bum bum bum.
Bum, bum, bum. This one was hard to put together for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Big Ridge was hard for me to put together.
Yeah?
it was.
Okay. All right, so true or false? People have inhabited Congaree over 10,000 years.
True.
True. That's a long time.
It is a long time.
That's
More
a
than I can
long
fathom, really, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't really fathom 1,000 years.
No, I can't either. Can't
So-
really do much more than 100.
Right? Absolutely. So
So.
10,000 years, people have been living in Congaree. All right, true or false? Hernando de Soto searched for gold in this area.
False.
That one's also true.
Wow, just thinking of the terrain, I wouldn't be digging
I
for
know,
gold.
I know. So, Hernando de Soto, I only remember that name from St. Augustine, I think.
Okay.
Like the
Yeah,
Spanish,
definitely heard the name, yeah.
Conquistador. Yes. So, I thought it was really interesting. He was one of the first, not native people to come to the U.S. and find this piece of land. So he was one of the first people that came. He searched for gold, didn't find any, and,
Brave man.
And left.
I just can't imagine people inhabiting or coming to look for gold without the boardwalk.
Yes. And if you
thinking.
don't know what Congaree is, we'll get there.
Yes.
You'll understand. You'll understand.
Yeah.
True or false, you can see otters in Congaree. Otters.
False.
It's true.
Oh, I
It's
should.
true.
But then I was like, well, I'm sure
But it's otters.
We've got so many
But there's
predators.
like alligators and stuff.
Right, I should have known.
Yeah, otters. Really cool.
Darn.
I was either gonna do otters or feral dogs because there's apparently feral dogs here as well,
Well, you would have
and
definitely got me
feral
there.
pigs. In Congaree. I'm not exploring. I'm not digging for gold in.
Maybe I
in
knew the
Congaree.
pigs, but definitely not the
Yeah,
dogs.
that was really interesting. Yep.
Darn otters.
I know. Okay, this one, multiple choice.
Okay.
What was Congaree National Park labeled prior to becoming a national park?
Okay.
Was it Congaree Swamp National Monument, Congaree National River and Recreation Area, or Congaree State Park?
A.
Congaree Swamp National Monument.
Yay!
Yeah, and there was a big stink because they called it Congaree Swamp, but it's not a swamp.
Oh.
It's a floodplain.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Well,
learned that after I was there,
interesting.
which was fun. Which is bigger in acres, Congaree or Dry Tortugas?
Dry Tortugas?
Yep. Yep, it is.
Because of the
It's
ocean.
bigger because
Like
of
all
the
the
ocean.
ocean area.
Yep.
I don't even
That
know
was a
how
good
far
one.
that extends.
I don't either.
I imagine it's a lot.
Congaree was 26,000 acres?
Ish, yeah.
Something?
Mhm,
Yeah. Yep. Okay. What is the name of the big tall trees in Congaree? It's the really fun name.
Okay.
You
Is
got
it multiple choice?
Nope.
Oh.
No.
Okay, what are my options? Lobalolly.
Yes! Yes! The loblolly trees!
Oh, loblolly.
I think
Or-
so.
Okay.
Loblolly.
That was so fun.
It's just fun to say. The loblolly trees.
Man.
It's good. You did good. You did good.
No multiple choice.
No multiple choice. You remembered. I am so proud. Before we jump into state park numbers, I am going to say, last week I had flu A, flu B, COVID, and strep. So I will frequently be taking drinks today because my throat is still kind of scratchy. Who gets all four of
That's
those
what I
at
was
the
about
same
to say.
time?
Who gets that?
Apparently I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
If only there was a stamp for that.
If there was a stamp for that,
You
I would get it. I would get it.
Well, that's okay. I'll start us off in state national park numbers. Okay, so this is where we go over some of the stats and the numbers of the park. There are 10 hiking trails within the park. This surprised me. That's quite a few, I feel like. 5 easy, 2 moderate, and 3 difficult. So this is a great park if you are not in the best shape because you have more of the easier hikes. There are 2 front country campgrounds, Longleaf and Bluff, but this national park does not offer any RV camping within the park. So those will just be tent camping.
Yep. And there's 20 campsites between those two front country campgrounds. So there's not that much.
But luckily, reservations required. It's not one of those
Yep.
that you
So
just
you
first
know.
come, first serve. So.
Yeah. So you know when you're going if you've got a spot or not.
Mhm.
And they also have one backcountry campground, which is where I stayed.
Oh, very cool.
I stayed there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
There are 26,276 acres, like Cheyenne said earlier,
Mm-hmm.
with 100 species of trees.
Yeah.
So
That's a
cool.
lot.
That is a lot.
Yep. So Congaree, something that I learned after visiting was that Congaree is also a UNESCO site. Biosphere something site for the amount of trees that's there. It's the world's largest old growth forest. And so that's one of the big reasons why it's protected.
That's cool.
And because the loblolly trees are so big and tall. Like they're the biggest in the east.
And they're so cool to
They're
see.
so fun.
Yeah, so fun. In 2021, there were 215,181 recreational visits.
That's a very specific number.
That is, and it's a very low number if you think about
That's
it.
very
when
low.
we're talking about the millions,
Yeah.
which I don't know necessarily, that might not just be recreational, but millions
Yeah.
for Yellowstone, Great Smoky Mountains, etc.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is just the thousands.
Mhm.
So,
Yep. And then again, 1976, Congaree Swamp became a national monument. And then in 2003, it became Congaree National Park.
so not too long ago. 20 years ago. This year.
I was going to say, that's only 10 years ago.
I wish. Yeah, I know. I know what you mean.
That's 20 years ago.
1993 was 30. That's what I know.
Yeah.
10,000 years ago, 10,000 years, humans have inhabited the park, like we said earlier.
Yep. And then there's 170 species of bird here. So there's lots of different trees to see, and there's lots of different animals to see while you're here, which is cool.
Yeah. So next we are going to talk about some of the top spots around the park. And in my opinion, this is the top spot around the park, in
I
my
agree.
opinion.
I agree.
And that is the boardwalk loop trail. So this is really how you are going to access the majority of the park and just the easiest way to access. So this is a 2.6 mile loop that is rated easy. It is a boardwalk. And that is how you're going to explore the floodplain. Wheelchair accessible, I would imagine.
I believe so.
At least for the most part. I do know
Yes.
that they have wheelchair rentals. I did read this and I was very impressed. 3 different types. A regular wheelchair, a larger sized, and then a different type of wheelchair, like an off-roading
Oh,
type
that's cool.
wheelchair. So they do
Yeah.
offer that. So I definitely think this could be a wheelchair accessible.
Friendly park.
It is, yeah, it really is. But do always check for closures because this is a floodplain. It's just better safe than sorry to check when visiting this park. And this boardwalk loop begins at the visitor center, and there is a self-guided boardwalk tour that you can follow along with. And we did that, and that was fun.
We did that as
Tells
well.
you about the different trees and different markers within the boardwalk.
Yep. The first time Tyler and I did this, we've been twice. The first time we wanted to do the whole loop, but there was a recent rainfall.
Oh.
And so once we got out so far on the loop, the water had came up so far that you couldn't see the bottom anymore. So we had to turn around and walk back.
Okay, it was fully open when we went in November, but some of the side trails were closed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely check before you visit.
For sure. They do have a visitor center. It's the Harry Hampton Visitor Center, and it has some really cool exhibits in it. It's small. It's not as big as some of the other visitor centers, but it's very interactive, and the rangers that we've talked to while we were there were really helpful as well.
And then another top spot around the park, and this is not something that I've done personally, but it sounds really cool, is the Congaree River Blue Trail. And this is going to be a 50-mile recreational paddling trail. And it goes kind of from urban to the floodplain. It starts at the state capital which is Columbia. And then throughout that paddling trail, you eventually go through the national park. So that's really cool too.
Yeah. So the way that I think of Congaree is that you pull in, you walk to the visitor center,
Mm-hmm.
you grab your self-guided tour pamphlet, and then you walk the boardwalk.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can say, okay, I did it. all
You
day.
can, yeah.
There's a lot of other things you can do, like the paddle boarding or the paddling trail, which that's one of my bucket list items, is to do a paddle board trail or a paddling trail.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Which is, I forget about that. But that's, whenever I see it, it reminds me that I want to do a paddling trail.
Yeah, I don't even think I knew there was such thing as a paddling trail until
there's this one in Congaree. There is one in the Everglades. And I believe there's one in Biscayne National Park as well. So there's a couple different...
All in
the national parks. Yeah.
Some in Florida, some in South Carolina.
But with Congaree, I feel like once you do the boardwalk, you've seen the floodplain. It feels like a swamp.
Mm-hmm,
It feels like a swamp. The technical difference is that a swamp always has water and a floodplain doesn't.
I can't imagine that not having water there.
I know. So we went in June one year, and there was a lot of water everywhere. And then when we went, it was after we went to Disney one time, we drove back and saw Congaree. Maybe September. It wasn't as deep of water.
Okay.
So it's pretty interesting. But we feel like it's a swamp.
Yeah.
It looks like a swamp, but it has tall trees. There's no ogres. We looked.
Found other things though. Okay. Things which you'll find out about. Things to do. And turns out, I found a lot more things to do than I thought. So, like I said earlier, there are 10 hiking trails, which is more than I thought. And then canoeing and kayaking. So this is a big thing to do at Congaree. So there's all types of wildlife that you can see while canoeing or kayaking, such as river otter.
You even wrote it.
Deer, turtles, birds, and even the occasional alligator. And there are guided floats, which I think would be so much fun.
That's my bucket list.
Yeah,
a
that would be so much fun.
Because, like, if I'm seeing an alligator, I need a ranger next to me to tell me what to do. Because I don't know what to do with a gator.
They'll say stay 10 feet away, or how many feet it should be.
Stay 50 yards away from all wildlife.
Back up.
Yeah.
These guided floats have a 12-person limit, which I like because that just feels more personal. And more one-on-one with the ranger, which we always love. We always love that. They're 4 hours long, 3 to 4 hours long. And you can make reservations for those online. You can also rent equipment for that if you don't have your own from Commercial Outfits in Columbia, which is a close by city. So that's a big thing to do there.
Oh, yeah. And then along the lines of water, you can also fish. So you need to check the National Park Service site for all the rules and regulations there.
There are quite a few.
There's quite a few because it's federal land, but it's in the state of South Carolina, so the rules are kind of different and specific all at the same time. And then, of course, camping, we've talked about.
Yep. They also have ranger-led programs. I didn't see any on the schedule for the next couple of months. But they do have a ranger-led program called Walk and Talks, which I think is cute, where the rangers just guide you and tell you about the park.
Yeah,
so I think that's cool. And then I'll let you talk a little bit more about the synchronous fireflies because she's actually had the opportunity to see those, and I have not.
Yeah, so synchronous fireflies that happens in the Smokies and in Congaree. Tyler and we have been able to see this at both national parks. The Great Smoky Mountains you had to buy a ticket. Now it's a lottery. with Congaree, we just happened to be there a few days after the event, but the fireflies were still synchronous. So we got to see them at both. And that's just during mating season. All the fireflies are synchronous. So they all light up at the same time, and then they all go dark at the same time. It's kind of like a wave. So one person over here starts, and then they all light up, and then all get dim. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing to do. I would love to do that there or at the Great Smoky Mountains. So our trip, we went separately to Congaree. I've only been once, and Blake and I went with the dogs in November of 2020. It was a great time to go to this park. We took our camper and camped at Sesquicentennial State Park. And that was a good location to be within, I think it was within 20 or 30 minutes of the national park. That state park was beautiful. The campground was beautiful. And I highly recommend staying there if you are visiting the park and you have your camper or a tent. And we were visiting the national park before heading to Charleston. And like I said, great time of year to go. The bugs were very minimal, and that's something that you really have to be aware of at Congaree. So much so that they have a mosquito meter where they rate how many, or
they rate
severity
the severity
of the
mosquitoes. When Tyler and I went, it was not on no bugs. It was a lot higher, and we fought bugs really hard.
Isn't it like 1 to 10?
I don't remember.
Yours was pretty high. I remember you like a
really
picture
high.
or something.
Yeah.
For us, it was like a 1. And didn't bother us at all. And I do feel like Congaree National Park could be just a one-day park unless you plan on getting on the water with canoeing or kayaking or the paddle trail. So,
absolutely.
So that's what we did on our trip.
Yep. So the first time Tyler and I went on this trip, we walked the boardwalk. It was flooded on the one area, so we turned around and walked back. And then I posted last week on our TikTok a video of Tyler going across the boardwalk. I gave no explanation. It's just the video. It cracks me up. So how the boardwalk sits, when there's a lot of water, it comes through the cracks in the boards and comes up. So when you're walking, the water like squishes in your feet.
Yeah.
So that's what we had been doing. But there's also wolf spiders here at Congaree and snakes. We saw lots of snakes and we saw lots of spiders when we went. And so when you're walking on the boardwalk, the water comes up, so the spiders come up, and then they run to the edges because they see you coming.
Good.
It's really great. So Tyler and I are walking, and there's the big wolf spider. I mean, they're like palm-sized spiders. And so we could see them, and I wasn't going to turn around just because there was a spider, but I also wasn't going to be the one to walk through the spider first. So Tyler, I took a video of him. You'll have to go watch it. It's on TikTok. We can share it to our Instagram, which we'll then share to Facebook. You have to watch it though, because he takes off running, and then he like Scooby-Doo runs in the air, and then skip-hop runs down the boardwalk.
Bless him.
So it's one of the funniest videos I remember taking in a national park ever. It's really fun.
Oh,
it's really fun.
I don't blame them. Okay, favorite park story. So
That one was mine.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, in the outline I picked a different one, but it changed.
Perfect.
Changed it.
So in that 2.6 mile walk on the boardwalk, Blake and I had an eventful 2.6 mile walk. So we started out going the wrong way, first of all. I think we went left, and you're supposed to start right. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I don't know.
So anyways,
I don't remember.
He's walking with Boomer, and I'm behind him with Paisley.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm
No,
going
you're
to.
okay.
This is one of the few national parks that you can bring your dogs.
Oh, yeah,
Like
good
the
point.
Smokies, Yellowstone, you cannot bring your animals with you. But at Congaree you can.
Yeah, and the boardwalks, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm behind him with Paisley, and all of a sudden, like, I just see something fall down, and a snake fell on him and Boomer. And it just fell and like hit his shoulder and then fell onto the boardwalk and just slithered off, you know. But he's terrified of snakes. And so that was hilarious. And he was saying some words like, these families were coming. He was like, I'm sorry, I'm just terrified of snakes. So that was so funny. I so wish I had a video of that. Because I never thought about snakes falling out of trees, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So far at Congaree, we have wolf spiders scurrying around and snakes falling on you.
Yeah.
So we're not at a great start.
So that was his funny part. And then we were like walking through, and if you know me, I'm just not good at walking. I fall, I trip, whatever, slide. And so I was walking, I was like, Blake, I'm so excited. And so I'm usually walking with my head down, watching for roots and things, missing the views. And so I was looking up because it's boardwalk. So I was like, I'm safe. And I told Blake, I was like, I'm so excited. I can walk and look straight ahead and enjoy the scenery without falling because it's a boardwalk. Nope. About halfway through, I was walking, and probably the water that seeps through that you were talking about slid, landed right on my butt. Poor Paisley was like, Mom, are you okay? Blake's hee-hawing, laughing, and a stranger has to come check on me. She's like, are you okay? While my husband is cackling. And if you know, you know. But that's totally him.
Yeah.
So, you do, in fact, have to be careful walking on the boardwalk.
You do.
I was wearing my hiking boots, I think. At least tennis shoes.
Yeah.
But I think slid, landed right on my
Slid,
butt. Man, it was a
smack
loud
it.
thud, too. It was so funny.
Oh, man.
So.
Yeah. I love that for you.
Thank you.
I don't know if you've shared that story with me.
Yeah. I thought I was safe, and I wasn't.
Oh,
I
gosh.
wasn't, so
Oh, man.
leave it to me.
All right. So, when I go back to Congaree, so Tyler and I, the first time we went to Congaree, we fought bugs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking, like, horsefly-sized mosquitoes walking through the woods with us. And it was not great. So we said then, we're never going back. And then Evie was born. I'm like, dang it. If we want her to go to all the national parks, we have to go to Congaree. So we were driving near it one day. I'm like, let's just stop and take her. So we did. And then we're leaving Sunday to go to Disney World. And Tyler texted me today and he said, why don't we go to Congaree so we can take Finley?
So back she goes.
Back we go. We're going to go to Congaree on Sunday. If I remember, I'll pop in and do a live and just say hey from the boardwalk.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That way we can see
You should
some
have
of
good
it.
service, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
I remember.
I mean, it's
having
not in the
service.
middle of a city, but it's not terribly far away.
Yeah,
either.
agreed.
So it's not that far of a drive out of our way from here to Florida. So we're going to stop back by. But what I want to do when I go back to Congaree is the guided canoe or kayak thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing that with a 4-year-old and a almost 1-year-old.
I wouldn't recommend it.
So, but that's something that if I have to go back for a 4th time, I would do.
The more babies you have, the more times you're
I
going to go back to Congaree.
I'm going to be done having babies because I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back.
But you should still go visit.
Still go visit.
Just not 4 times or 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
What are you going to do when you go back?
When I go back, I would like to get on the water. Will I? I don't know. Just the thought of those alligators being in there and me, just who I am. But that is what I would like to do. If I go back, would be to do a guided float.
Yeah.
I would. I think that'd be
Maybe-
cool. That's
maybe
what I've
in
not
a-
explored. The water. I've not been
Yeah.
on the water. So
Right. Same.
that would be cool. I would just need to practice kayaking beforehand.
Yeah.
If I fall in, there's no getting back in the kayak
Yeah.
for me.
We have kayaks. Me and you should go kayaking
We should.
on Doris Lake.
We should.
We can go magnet fishing.
We should.
We should do
I've
that.
heard there's alligators in there too, so I'll
There-
either way, I'm going down. So, that's what I'd like to do
love
as well. Okay, what did you learn after visiting?
But I didn't want to go back.
Oh, She is hating tonight. You should go to Congaree. I enjoyed it.
am not saying you shouldn't go to Congaree. Really, I mean, the wildlife there, even though it's a little creepy, is really fun. Like, Evie was 2.
Yeah, different.
She could see the snakes on the side of the boardwalk. She thought they were really cool. We found like a centipede, really long thing with lots of legs. Mm-hmm. She thought it was really cool. So she really enjoyed the things. But something I didn't realize that I thought was cool was that during the Civil War, or before the Civil War, the Congaree area was used as a slavery safe haven. Oh. So if they didn't go all the way north, they would just go and get lost in Congaree, and they had different communities and things in that area that were safe for them to stay. Sort of safe. There's alligators and snakes and spiders and things, but it was better for them.
That tells you how bad slavery is.
Yeah.
Was.
Yeah.
Is that you went there as a safe haven.
Yeah. So I thought that was a really interesting, sad, eye-opening fact.
Yeah. Okay. So this is our last live before Halloween and our last spooky live. And so Cheyenne, of course, has another ghost story. It's always her. I don't have any. She has a fun, spooky story to share with us about Congaree.
I do. Okay. So the spooky story from Congaree National Park, and I will preface this by saying, I think we talked about this last time too, I don't necessarily believe in ghosts, but I don't not believe in ghosts either. I am open to the possibility that there is weird things that can happen on Earth. So,
okay, good start.
Tyler and I, when we went our first time, we camped in that backcountry camping area. So it is about 1.5 miles from the parking lot to that campsite. From there, you have to cross the visitor center, go down the boardwalk, and then get off of the boardwalk and walk through the woods. That's where all the bugs were in the woods.
Oh, okay.
So we had gotten there about midday. We got our tent, we hiked out, and then we knew it was going to thunderstorm that evening. So instead of being in a tent among some of the tallest trees in the eastern U.S., we decided we would walk back to the visitor center, cook our dinner at the little picnic shelter there. So we would cook dinner there, wait out the storm, and then walk back to our campsite in the dark. So that's exactly what we did. So we had dinner with a whole group of other people that they weren't camping, but they were there to see the fireflies still. And so we all ate dinner together, and then we went to walk back to our campsite, and they walked back onto the boardwalk to watch the fireflies. So first of all, we get on the boardwalk, and right at the beginning of the boardwalk, a tree had fallen and destroyed the boardwalk.
Oh.
So we had to crawl over and under a tree and hope that it just didn't keep falling. So we ventured through that part, and we all made it. It was okay. And then we got back to the boardwalk, and whenever we would pass someone, we would let them know, like, hey, there was a tree that fell, so when you go to leave, just be on the lookout for it. No, we didn't call the ranger, because we're going to bed. So we walked along the boardwalk, and then as you would go, since it's the synchronous firefly mating season, you can't use a flashlight. If you use your flashlight, it messes up their mating, and we all love fireflies, so we need more of them every year. So you're supposed to use like a red cellophane over your light, and you can use that, but since we didn't know that the fireflies were going to be out, we didn't have that equipment with us. And so we were walking in the dark in a swamp by the light of fireflies. and
Sounds
the moon.
magical.
It sounds kind of magical.
It does.
So you're in the where it's a floodplain. You know, your fireflies, when they light up, you get the double effect because you get the reflection on the water too. So we did stand and we watched the fireflies, but we also knew we had to walk 1.5 miles back to our campsite. So at one point in the boardwalk, like she said, it splits and you can go right or left. For us, we needed to go left so that we could get to that wooded area to take our trail towards the tent. As we were in that crook, we were coming up on it, and you can see both ways. There was someone standing by themselves in that split. And so we were like, that's weird, because they look kind of short. Like they were a young teenager sized female is what I feel like we saw. Like an 11, 12-year-old girl standing on the boardwalk by herself. And at this point, we were 1 mile in, and so we hadn't really seen anybody in a while. So we thought it was weird. We were also concerned because it looked like this person was wearing a hooded rain jacket, like a trench coat. So, and of course it's all white. And it was just this figure of a person standing on the boardwalk by themselves. So me and Tyler were both a little nervous, but we were also really tired and wanted to go to bed. So we were like, we'll just pass it. We're just going to pass it. So I pushed Tyler in front of me because I'm not going to go first.
That's why we're married.
That's why we're married. Protect me. So Tyler goes first. And everyone always asks, well, did you look at it as you walked by? Absolutely not, because if I did, I knew that it was going to turn around and it was going to be like a black-eyed child. It wasn't going to have eyeballs, so I did not look.
No.
After we passed it, I thought about turning around.
No.
And then all I could think of was Lot's wife in the Bible turning around and turning into salt. And I was like, I'm not turning around. We're just going to walk past it. No big deal. So it was, my brain was scattered, okay?
Sense.
But so as we pass it, it wasn't really see-through. It didn't look like it was levitating. Like I didn't see shoes either. So we just kind of walked past it. And the boardwalk is not very wide. How wide would you say it is? Like 6-8 feet?
Yeah.
Maybe?
You can comfortably pass someone, but
right, like we could walk side by side,
Yeah.
and a third person could pass between us.
yeah.
So it's not very wide. So it was really strange that when we approached this person in the dark, none of us had flashlights. It never turned around to see, like, oh, someone's coming. It never, like, as we were passing it, it didn't say, hey. We also didn't say hi because I'm not inviting that.
No.
in. So we just walked past it. We were a little freaked out, but we got back to our tent, went to sleep, woke up, walked back out. End of story.
Went to sleep.
Went to sleep, right? Like it was no big deal. Now, there were, in the backcountry site, we were on one side, and then there was a big group of people on the other side.
Oh, okay.
And they
That
were
is
still
comforting.
talking
Okay,
when
yeah.
we went to bed.
Okay.
If it would have just been
I
us
thought it was
back
just you
there, no. If it would have just been us back there, I would have went back to the car, and we would have found a hotel.
Absolutely.
So, comfort in numbers. So, we went back and left. So, I've told this story multiple times. I don't know. I just touched her
Please
arm.
don't randomly touch
I'm
me
sorry,
during a
I didn't
spooky
mean to.
story.
So that's our spooky story of Congaree. But the story's not over yet, and
Ugh,
and
this is the part that gets me.
this is the part that really kind of freaked me out. So, like I said, we didn't want to go back to Congaree. We had fought off bugs. We had been attacked by wolf spiders. We saw a ghost. So we were done with Congaree. And then we had Evie. So
The bucket list restarted.
the bucket list restarted. So we take Evie back. We walk down the boardwalk. Where it splits, we went right. So Evie walked that whole dang boardwalk. We carried her some, but she had her little map, and she would try to point at the trees and point at things. It was precious. She had a blast. And she could run ahead. The boardwalk, on most of it, it has sides on it, so you can't fall off. It's not very high, but for safety, so you don't fall off. So she would run ahead, she would play, she would run back. And we went around the whole boardwalk, and we get to the very end, and she stops. She looks over, and she goes, "Ooh, spooky." And comes to me for me to hold her. And Tyler turns around, and he goes, "You know where we're standing, right?" And I said, "Yep, let's go." It was right in that split, so we came all the way around the other way.
Yeah.
It was right in that split that we had seen that possible ghost years before.
Ugh. That gives me heebie-jeebies.
It gets me. It gets
Really?
me.
Because she didn't know
Right.
what you had
it's not
seen.
like
she didn't know the story.
Right.
She wasn't old enough for
It's
that.
not like we told a 2-year-old ghost story.
Right.
And if we had, what were
Still.
the chances that it was the exact same spot
Right.
on an almost 2-mile loop
Yeah. Mm-mm.
that she said, "Ooh, spooky"?
No. Count me out.
Yeah, real weird. So on Sunday, we're probably just going to go right and
Don't
then
wish.
turn around and come back. Because I don't want to go all the way back around.
Yeah,
don't
but I
wanna-
want you to and see if she does it again. Now she's quite a bit older. So, like,
Yeah, so it's another 2
she
years.
has a lot more
She's
words and
4.
things to explain.
And she does frequently talk about some supernatural things. So maybe we will take her.
I would. I mean, I want to know.
Hopefully I have nothing to report. Or maybe hopefully I do have something to report. I don't know.
Cheyenne's spooky story.
Cheyenne spooky story. That's really the
That's
only...
a good one.
It's a good one. It's a good one. And that's really the only personal spooky story I have.
And you can find that story, correct?
You can find that story on... There's the podcast National Park After Dark. I typed my story up and I sent it to them. And they do Trail Tales stories. And so they read that story and had commentary on it, which was fun.
Yeah.
It's in one of their
I think
episodes.
that's cool.
Yeah. We fangirl. I fangirl really hard
She does.
over National Park
She
After
does.
Dark.
And I do as well. Not as hard as you, but I do as well.
I'm a-
Because
I'm a-
spooky stuff isn't as much me as it is
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But that's my ghost story.
So cool. And creepy.
And- I love your tone. It's so cool and creepy.
And don't sit close to Cheyenne in a spooky story because she'll just touch you.
Gotcha. Not meant to.
Okay, park tips, and I'm sure you could probably pick these out yourself after listening to us.
Yeah.
Pack bug spray,
Yep.
sunscreen,
Yep.
because it is hot, and water,
Bring water.
as always in any high temperature area.
Yep. And then because it is a floodplain swamp, you need to wear waterproof shoes because even if you're on the boardwalk, sometimes it kind of dips in elevation or the water rises up to the bottom of it, so it can still be pretty slick.
Or if you plan to go off on one of their hiking trails off the boardwalk, you would especially need those.
Yep.
And then go later in the year or at a specific time of the year to avoid those bugs. So like I said, in November, wasn't bad at all. Sounds like
In
she was
June,
miserable.
It
in
was
June.
awful.
So,
Yep.
definitely something to keep in mind for this park.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Bring your dogs if you got them.
yeah, bring your dogs. Bring your kids.
Bring your kids. It's pretty fun. So, it's pretty fun.
Okay.
All right. We're done for today
We are.
already.
We are. The blog post will be posted on Monday. So that will be up on Monday.
Yep. follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Let's go to the park.
And feel free to join our private Facebook group and share your own travel plans so that you can get the opinion or advice from others in the group. And we hope you'll join us on our next live. We'll let you know when that is.
Is it November?
Do you want to look at your
7th?
calendar?
Maybe it's, I don't know. Whenever it is, we'll be here. Just pop up and say, hey.
We're usually here on Monday at 6:45.
Usually Mondays.
Let's see.
November 6th.
Will you be back?
I'm coming back on the 6th.
So probably not.
So probably not.
Maybe we could do the 7th.
Maybe on the 7th.
Because I leave the 9th.
Yeah. We can try to plan for that.
Okay, so tentatively November 7th.
Yep.
You will see us to talk about our next park. Follow our page. We'd love your commentary and your guesses on which park we're doing next.
Oh, yeah.
And we have lots of comments
We have lots of comments. It looks like Mike Foster.
Can you see from back there?
I can. Mike Foster says, tell the big hairy toe story.
So
I'm
that's his
assuming
story
that's
to tell.
You.
No, that's him. That's all him. That is my
okay.
Uncle Michael. Hi.
Okay. Hi, Uncle Michael.
Yeah, he has great stories. He's a great storyteller. Hey, maybe he could join us on our live.
Absolutely.
Sometime. We'd love to have you.
That would be fun.
Gives me the willies, especially that wolf spot.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you like my spooky story.
He's a great storyteller.
Yeah.
You are too. He has so many stories. So many stories.
I need more stories.
I told him he should write them down.
Oh, yeah.
To make a little book and have,
That would be fun.
Because it definitely our family would love.
Yeah.
And I think we have some up top too. We had
come
another
into
one.
If I was a firefly, I would be mad. Yeah. Like, you're not who you said you were.
Don't dim my eye.
I'm glad you had fun, Sheree.
Thanks. We had so much fun. I hope you're feeling better. Yeah. Thanks for joining us tonight, y'all.
It's fun.
It's
dark outside.
It is.
It's dark outside. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
All
Got
right.
a little spooky vibe.
Little spooky vibe.
So, tentatively November 7th. We'd love for you to join us.
Yep.
And we would, if you guys ever have stories to share about a park that we're about to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Or
a park
tips
we talked about before.
Yeah.
You can write in your stories. We'll tell your stories. If
we
you
would
want us
love to share stories.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Until
we'll
then.
see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. I can't believe you could